Hello, my name is Laura, and today is a lovely fall day in October here in Tennessee. The leaves are starting to change colors, and we actually got a little bit of rain this morning that we've really been needing, so it's just a little bit dreary out, and it is, believe it or not, very inspiring. So I am just feeling the creative energy in the fall air that I thought it'd be fun to have kind of a cozy, crafty day. And so today I have at least one project in mind that I want to finish, and then I'll see whatever else I get into for the second half of the day. But to start, the project that I want to definitely finish today is something that I started a couple weeks ago, and it's essentially where I took this empty picture frame and stapled wire mesh to it, and then I've been taking squares of colored tissue paper and putting it into the grid in the wire mesh to create an image. And honestly, it's going really fast so far. I just haven't had the time to sit down and finish it, so I'm hoping today I can definitely do that. And then after, I don't know, we'll see what else I'm getting into. I think I want to try collage again, so I don't know, there might be a trip to the craft store in my future for today. But for now, I'm gonna go keep working on the tissue paper painting. Okay, so this is what I have done of the piece so far. And for the image that I'm trying to create, I essentially took some tiny pumpkins that I bought from the grocery store and this glass mushroom thing that I found in my house, and I took a few photos of these to create kind of a fall still life of sorts. And then I took my favorite photo and I uploaded it to this website called Pick2Pat, which technically is to create cross-stitch patterns, but it gives you a pattern for a grid and tells you what color needs to go in each square, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So that is the image that I have hanging right here. I'm not following it to a T, but it's giving me a good reference for where the general outline of each shape needs to be, and then for the colors, I'm just kind of doing whatever I want. So I'm gonna keep working on this. These first like 10 rows actually went very fast, so I'm thinking I can get the rest of this done fairly quickly. And I'm also listening to Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and it's the audiobook that has like a different voice actor for each character, and there's music and background noise, so it is really entertaining, and I think that's partially why this top half went so quickly. But yeah, so I'm just gonna listen to that for a little bit and keep working on this. Tragically, I have run out of my background color, which I thought I had so much more than this, but that's fine. I have another shade of green that's like close-ish to it, so I'm gonna do a little bit of reorganizing. I'm probably gonna make the mushroom a little bigger to fill up more space, and then maybe I'll swap out a few of these for the lighter color just to sprinkle it in there. And then I honestly really only needed the background color to go like this much further down, which that's a lot of that's gonna be pumpkin, so there's just gonna be like a little bit that I need to fill in. It's a little bit irritating, but it's fine, just a minor setback. And yeah, also I've gotten to the point that I'm about to start doing the pumpkins, and I am thinking a little too hard about it, so I haven't actually been able to pay attention to my audiobook. So I'm just gonna pause on that for a while and just work on this in silence, which is fine. When planning for this project, I wasn't yet sure what image I would be trying to make, so I bought a multicolored pack of tissue paper. What I'm doing here is cutting the sheets into roughly 2-inch squares, but if you end up making a project that needs tiny squares of tissue paper, go ahead and save yourself the trouble of this step. You can definitely order pre-cut squares online, and I just didn't think to look that up when ordering my tissue paper. The piece is done. The idea, I really like. The execution is maybe not my best, but honestly, that's the whole point. Like, it's just tissue paper, so inevitably when I get tired of a giant mushroom and 3 tiny pumpkins, I can just take it all out and try again. So who knows what the next one will be? Who knows how long this will stay as a mushroom and pumpkin still life? Maybe forever? I don't know. But for now, honestly, it was a fun little exercise and I'm glad I did it. So now I am kind of in the mood to try collage. I made this thing a few weeks ago just by cutting up old magazine bits, and it really inspired me to maybe try collage a little more seriously. This had like no thought that went into it. It was just like putting things where I thought it was pretty. You can see I pulled from a few knitting magazines, which was really fun. But I'm thinking I want to go get some actual like fancy paper and then see if I can make a little something out of it. So we'll see. I don't have like an exact image in mind quite yet, but I think once I am in the paper aisle at the craft store, inspiration will hit me and I will have an idea for what I want to make. So now I am off to the craft store. This craft store excursion ended up being slightly stressful because apparently taking your kids here is a great way to spend a rainy day, which that's super sweet, but there were like quadruple the amount of people here today than what I normally see. Luckily, the paper aisle was pretty chill and I was able to look at fabric dyes for a while without anyone else needing to look at them too. That was not a relaxing trip. Anyway, I did end up getting a few things. So to start, glue stick, obviously. I've been using liquid Elmer's glue for the other like little collage things that I've done, and it's just been kind of a painful experience. So I was really looking for this glue stick to maybe make my life easier. I did pick up some tiny canvases. I really liked, it comes in like a set of 5, and so I liked that they were flat so I wouldn't have to work on the edges of them, which the only downside is you have to put them in a frame in order to hang them, and I didn't buy any frames, so we'll see. Anyway, I got 5 8x8 canvases and then 5 10x10 canvases, because I also have this issue where I start big and then realize I should have started like on a smaller scale. So for whatever I work on today, I'm gonna do the 8x8 to make it a little more realistic and maybe a little more fun so I'm not so overwhelmed with the size of the canvas. But I like to have like a backup just in case I'm feeling adventurous later on. So anyway, got some canvas. And I also picked up some Rit fabric dye. And first of all, it took me forever to find this in the store, but also I knit a sweater last year. It's the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. And my very sweet mother bought the yarn for me, and it was my actual, I would consider it my first real sweater that I knit. And so it was hand-dyed yarn from Hobby Lobby, and that is the only hand-dyed sweater I have made since, because I have learned it's just maybe not for me. I prefer solid or even tweed kind of yarns for my sweaters. So anyway, I am really heavily considering over dyeing it at some point. So I bought indigo, which is none of the colors that's in the original sweater, and I'm maybe thinking it'll hopefully be dark enough to cover up the existing dye. I don't know. I will experiment with the swatch that I knit at some point. I also have like a fair amount of this yarn left over, so if I need to make some more swatches, then I can work with that. But anyway, this is for another day, just something I thought I'd pick up while I was out. And then for the exciting stuff, I did pick up a fair amount of paper. Now, first of all, I thought I remembered the paper section being a little bit bigger, but maybe I just haven't looked at it in a while, and that's fine. I did pick up some good stuff. So I'll kind of flash them through. I picked up some black, but it's actually shiny and kind of sparkly a little bit. And to complement that, I picked up some white, shiny, sparkly paper. I got this guy just because he looked really pretty. I don't think this will match what I have in mind for today, but I like it. I got two of these guys because they are just so stunning. Like, this is beautiful. I probably should have grabbed more. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I love this. So that's that. I also got a few just plain colors that kind of, some of them have like a texture to them, but just a few fall colors just in case I'm feeling inspired by that. I picked up checkerboard, which I think is pretty. This thing, which I'm gonna be pretty sad to cut this up, to be honest. This is really pretty, but I like it. Another fancy kind of white one. This is the one I'm most excited about. It's like a sparkly, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but it's sparkly red. And it's gorgeous. Oh, it's just sparkly red. I love it. Okay, last one is this thing, which is see-through. I was not expecting that, but I really loved the color. I think it's eucalyptus leaves that are on here, and kind of cool. I thought it'd be fun for layering if I needed it. So that's all I got, just a small craft store haul, and I have actually been inspired like I was hoping, and I have an idea of what I want to make, and it was actually this guy that inspired it. So what I'm gonna do now is probably take a little lunch break, and then I will see if I can make this collage image that I have come to life. Like I mentioned, the pickings were a little slim paper-wise at the craft store, but there were lots of options for fancy black and white papers. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the first thing I think of when I see black and white is a baby panda bear. So I knew that would be the focal point of the piece, and finding the red sparkly paper really pulled together the whole idea of a baby panda playing on a red ball. I wanted the red ball to look out of place, like it was definitely something the bear discovered, and the checkerboard shadow kind of gives the impression that this could be a stray prop from a circus or something. collage is done. And here she is. How sweet! I may go back and add in a few things later, like it feels a little unbalanced right now, but for now it has accomplished what I needed, which was to get this image out of my head of a baby panda bear discovering like an exercise ball or something in the middle of the jungle and playing on it as a baby panda bear would do. And so yeah, this is it. I think it's sweet. I didn't spend too long on this. Honestly, I think that's what made it fun, is I kind of like reached a point where I was just done. Like I felt satisfied, like I felt like the piece had fulfilled the thing that I needed it to. And so I'm just gonna stop for now, and that's kind of a fun feeling. So anyway, that is my little collage, and I can definitely say that this is kind of starting to unlock a love of collage. Like I feel like this just went so fast, and there's something like creatively freeing about not having to necessarily be in charge of every little detail. Like you can kind of let the paper that you choose do the work, and then you're just in charge of organizing it in a cool way. And I don't know, I personally find that very satisfying and really enjoyable. So there will probably be more collage in my future. So that is that. So to wrap up this little crafty vlog, I thought it would be fun to share the thing that I have on my needles that I am most excited about this season, and then also share the books that I'm reading. So to start, the thing that I am most excited to be knitting on right now is a pair of socks. And these are the Hermione Everyday Socks by Erica L. And I'll put her name on the screen just because I know I'm gonna pronounce it incorrectly. But this is a free pattern on Ravelry. And whenever I first looked at these, my brain was just like not understanding how you can get this texture out of it. And because it's a free pattern, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's just a purl bump every now and then. So I don't know, it's really cool that such a simple concept can create such a fun texture. Anyway, so this has just been so fun to work on. I've been working on these pretty much the entire month of October, and it's a little slow because I've been working on other things too, but I am really enjoying these. And I think a big reason why I'm enjoying it is the yarn. So for these socks, I'm using Ultimate Sock by Malabrigo, and I am using the color 862 Padris. Padrius? Anyway, 862 Padrius, or something like that. And essentially what I did is I went to an online yarn store that I get like most of my yarn from, and scoured their entire collection of sock yarn looking for the most fall colored yarn that I could find. And this is what I found. And it is just so lovely. The purples and the oranges and the green in there. So anyway, I'm loving this. I'm doing them 2 at a time because I noticed I have second sock syndrome. So if I work on them pulling from the outside of the ball and the inside at the same time, maybe I'll have a pair of socks finished at the same time. Who knows? I might still find a way to have second sock syndrome. Anyway, this is what I am most excited to have on my needles this fall because it just feels fall and cozy, and I am really loving it. And socks are just super easy to pick up and carry around wherever I'm going. So love that. All right, and lastly, I wanted to share the books that I'm reading right now. Now, I have never been one to read more than one book at a time, but I'm finding nowadays that I'm not always in the mood for something super serious. And so I do like to have something more serious and something a little more lighthearted, and I can kind of choose which I go for at the moment. And so I already mentioned that I'm listening to Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And to be honest, I struggle to multitask, so I have not grasped the entire story, but it is essentially where Tress, who has lived on this island her whole life, and her parents knit socks for a living, by the way, it is so sweet, and she goes on a journey to go find her love who has gone away from the island. And I think the synopsis of the book says it's very Princess Bride-esque, and I definitely am getting that so far. And it's really enjoyable. I just need to actually sit down and fully pay attention to it, maybe while I'm knitting and not working on something that really engages my brain. But anyway, it is a lovely, lovely book so far, and I'm really enjoying it. The second book that I'm reading right now, I actually picked up, well, I actually started like a week ago because I was gonna be in a waiting room for a while and I wanted something that could easily fit in my purse. And so I just grabbed the first Harry Potter book. And I have read this series only one time before, actually, and I think it was in middle school. And so it is so fascinating to go back to a series that you loved as a kid and just kind of re-experience it, because it's still a great story, but I'm also kind of like giggling to myself at how bare bones it is. Like, she definitely puts a lot of detail and description into this, but I think also the effect of seeing the movies and having already read the entire series and like the fandom that came out of it, like my brain is filling in more details than she provides in this first book. And I think that's just fascinating. I even started watching the first movie last night, and the same thing. It's like, it feels like the movie is like kind of fast paced, but my brain, knowing the full story, has just like very easily filled in all the gaps. And so, I don't know, it's pretty cool, but it also is sad because something so popular as this, you will never be able to experience for the first time again. So bittersweet, but it's been cute. Very fall vibes, going back to school. I definitely am kind of craving the back to school learning environment this fall, so it's kind of fun to go to magic school for a little bit. So anyway, that is that. All right, the last book that I am reading right now is one that everyone is reading right now, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I do love a good fantasy. I think my preferred type of fantasy is similar to Harry Potter, where there's like a toe dipped into the real world and there's like a bridge between our world and the fantasy world. So this is a bit of a new experience for me to completely dive into a new fantasy world that I've never been a part of. And it's very, very enjoyable. I think about halfway through. Yeah, pretty much exactly halfway through. And it's funny because the perspectives shift a lot in the book, and I'll find myself like getting really into one person's perspective, and then it'll go to the next chapter and it's somebody else, and I'm like, oh no, like I want to keep going on this one. But then just as quickly I'm into that new perspective and then disappointed again when it shifts back. So the writing is fantastic. You really get into these characters. To be honest, I do this thing where I start reading books without knowing what it's going to be about. I just heard that this one was a fantastic fantasy book, and that's what I know going into it. So I couldn't even tell you where I think this is gonna go, what the synopsis is. It's just fantastic. I'm sure you've heard of it. Everyone's talking about it because I think the newest book in the series is coming out in December of this year. So I think a lot of people online are hurrying up to finish the whole series, and I certainly am not going to be able to do that before December, but I am really, really enjoying this. All right, that is all that I have for this vlog. I went on a walk with my husband just a few minutes before this, and we got to see some of the leaves that are changing colors and get to be outside for a little bit, and that was so lovely. So I'm definitely in the fall spirit right now, and he even cooked a seafood etouffee that I'm about to go eat, and I'm really looking forward to that. So it's just been such a lovely day. Thank you so, so much for joining me, and tell me in the comments what you're working on or what books you're reading. I love to hear it, and I hope we can kind of, I don't know, get some inspiration from each other. So anyway, thank you so, so much for watching. Bye.